do I make my parrots so friendly? I got a great question from someone who basically was asking whether I get my parrots when they are young so that they're hand fed, or if there's something that I do to make them so tame. So stick around and we'll talk about it. Hi, I'm Kaylin, the author of The Parrot Bliss Bond, and in today's video I've got two of my male Cape Parrots, and hiding behind him is my green cheek conure, and that's Markle. This is Tesla, and this is Quantum. So I think that when it comes to your parrots, and getting them to really be like on good terms with you, hi, and getting them to be friendly and hand tame, starting when they're a baby makes a big difference, but not all of mine were like that. I didn't hand feed Tesla, and I actually didn't get him until he was about 7 months, which is still pretty young. But I also have some Amazons and African Greys and some others that I did not get super young. So let's start by giving you a nut. Are you good there? Would you like one too? You're welcome. You're welcome. I think that there are three basic areas that we want to talk about when it comes to making your parrot, whether it's a baby or whether you have an adult, more friendly and more manageable for you. How you basically establish that bond and make sure that as much as you can, it's a blissful bond. The first is how you behave and how you are around them. I think that your energy around them makes like a big difference. Don't steal his. You ate yours, which is now all over my dress. Yeah, you ate yours. Here you go. So, for example, when a friend of mine came over who is a breeder, he just picked my parrots up and he just had this energy to him. And I'm going, okay, this guy's got bird magic. But the energy that you hold around a parrot is really significant. I think they really know. I mean, I say I think, but I feel like they know when you're comfortable with birds, when you're like a bird person. When I meet new birds, they seem to know that I'm a bird person because they just seem to be a little different. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Yeah, what are you gonna find on my desk? Here, do you wanna go on the perch? There you go. Quantum, you gonna stay with me? You gonna stay and hang out? Yeah, look at my dress. The next thing is, when I'm with my parrots, one thing I do is I move slowly. So I think some of it is also, which is a part of your energy, is kind of how you handle yourself. There are some people who are kind of more erratic and they can surprise a parrot. When I'm around my parrots, for example, I'll move my hands slowly so that I don't freak them out. And now I've been abandoned. We'll see if they come back. I think, well, next, what you think and feel around them is really significant. I really believe that they communicate telepathically, and that means that they tap into what you're feeling, kind of the visual images in your mind. And so if you are feeling and thinking positive and beneficial things with them and around them, I really think they pick up on that. Now, just so that you don't think that I just randomly think that, I feel this way because, for example, my yellow-naped Amazon, when I'm getting ready to leave the house, she'll start to say bye-bye, even though there's like no clue that I'm leaving. I had someone who was here helping me clean, and she's like, you know, Lorenzo started to say bye-bye, and now you're telling me you're leaving, but you hadn't even told me. And I'm like, yeah, I was just getting ready. Or she goes, you know, also when you're gone, Lorenzo starts to say hello before you've pulled up in the driveway. So they definitely tap into what you're feeling and what you're seeing in your mind's eye kind of thing. Huh, sweetie? Yes. And it makes a really big difference. So if you love your parrots and if you think very positively of them, you're going to build a better rapport than if you feel like they're loud and obnoxious. So it's important to behave in ways that are going to help you build that bond. The second category for me is making sure that their needs are met. In other words, a hungry parrot or a parrot that doesn't ever get to come out of its cage, that just doesn't make for as happy of a parrot that you're going to have an easy time bonding with. So I always make sure that my parrots feel safe and secure. I really, it's a big thing for me for their cages to be their place, their haven. Other parrots aren't allowed to go and bug them in there. Sometimes, depending, I'll do things like I'll put wood on one side or something like that to give them some privacy. I want a place they can go in, they know it's theirs, and they can go, relax, and rest, and they know they won't be bothered. I make sure that they feel safe and secure. I make sure to give them a good diet. I'm constantly researching diet, and I make sure that I can keep my parrots as healthy as I can, because a unhealthy parrot can make for a grumpy parrot, whereas a parrot that is, he found another pistachio, a parrot that is really healthy and eating the right foods, their disposition is going to be better and it's going to be easier to bond. I also think that a part of giving them their needs and making sure that they're in the best place they can be for bonding with me, even, I make sure that I have 2 of every species whenever I feel like it's going to work or whenever it's possible. And most of my parrots, I do have 2 of the species. It gives them some of their own private flock that is just their flock. I've noticed that even when I have parrots that are from 2 different species and they bond, it's not quite the same. They don't quite mesh the same as they do when they have their own species. So that, it just makes a really big difference, and it's important for me, therefore, to make sure that my parrots have another one of their own kind. The third thing that I think is really important is the beliefs that you hold around your parrot. For example, I believe that if my parrots poke holes in my clothes, which she's doing, it's not the end of the world. Like, I already know that that's the way they are. Seriously though, one of my fundamental beliefs is that if I take care of my parrots, they're going to want to be around me. They're curious. They want to be in their flock. It's just like you with your friends or your family. You want to feel comfortable. You want to be a part of it. And so if someone has done everything to make you feel safe and secure, to make you feel welcome, to give you a good home, make sure your needs are met, then of course you're going to be in a good place to want to connect and be yourself and be a part of that and a connected part of that. So that's one of my core beliefs, and that gives me a certain mindset with them that I think is really important, and I think it helps me be able to manage my parrots. And I think it's the reason so many of my parrots are hand-tame, which I think more than 3/4 of my parrots are hand-tame. I also make sure that I meet their personalities at the level of their personality. And what I mean by that is, for example, Quantum, unfortunately he was in a pet store because capes are really hard to find. So when I did find him, he was already 11 months old, and that means that Quantum over there isn't quite as bonded, and I feel like he missed the time when he was younger to make more of a physical connection. And so he does more so with parrots, but he doesn't like to be pet. Whereas Tesla right here, even though he was about 7 months, he does like to be pet, and it's just different. So I recognize that their personalities are different, and we respect the fact that Quantum doesn't want to be pet. And generally speaking, if Quantum wants some attention, he'll come to me, although he really prefers my husband, and I respect that. Like, I just don't have a problem with that. So that means that the parrots get to be their own person, and I feel like that is a core part of respecting another creature and making sure that you can have a positive connection with them. Because no one's going to want to be around someone who forces them to be something that they're not. So that's really important for me. My last belief is if a parrot has a good home and a good life, they have other parrots around, they can hear parrot sounds, they have their own species, they have their food. With all of that in place, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. With the needs all met, it allows them to therefore be themselves and enjoy themselves more and look more into having a connection because they don't have to worry about their basic needs. They don't have to worry about food. They don't have to worry about feeling safe. That also means that, you know, I don't necessarily let all my parrots out at the same time. I tend to have a lot of them out at the same time, but we know each personality. We know who we can mix, who we can't mix, so that there's always safety. If a parrot's out, they're not going to get hurt. That's really fundamental for me, a fundamental part of making sure that everyone, people and parrots, feel as safe as possible and don't feel like they can't be walking around the house kind of thing. So that's what I think I do to make my parrots so tame and so willing to hang out with us. For example, Markle, you know, I've never spent a lot of time with her when she was little. She was hand raised by us. Well, we took over the hand feeding, but she's had 2 flocks. She has a mate, and yet she really just likes to be with me, and that's awesome. So I think, though, it's because, in part, there are some green cheek conures that prefer my daughter. Markle seems to prefer me. We just respect that, and we really let our parrots, therefore, just be their own people. And at that place of being their own person and having their needs met, they tend to want to come to us. So those are the 3 mindsets that if they're taken care of, they're going to want to connect. That when we let them have their own personality and respect that personality, they're going to be more, you know, they're just going to connect at whatever level they're going to connect, and that's acceptable. And that they really do want a good life, you know, that if their needs are met after that, they want a social life. They want to be good, happy parrots having fun. So that's the mindset, and moving backwards, that's the mindset and the beliefs. Next, that was meeting their needs, and first, that was the way I behave around them to have a successful bond with my parrots. Thank you for joining me in this blissful video. I do have 18 species of parrots, so I've learned quite a bit about parrots. If you have any questions or if you want to share anything, please make sure you post below. When you like and share the videos, it really helps my channel. And if you want to catch the next one tomorrow, make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.